And we're back. That last game was pretty straightforward. Not quite as silly as I thought it might be. Both players are playing very standard. That wasn't really exactly what I had in mind when I started this segment, but you never really know what you're going to be getting with these games. So let's jump in from that to something that I think looks very, very interesting. The title of this replay is actually called Nuclear Rofl, which is rolling on the floor laughing. It is a 2v2 game that was submitted to me by Red Revulsion on the map Boneyard. So this is actually going to be my first 2v2 cast ever. I've never casted a 2v2 game before. I have no idea what I'm getting into here, but you know what? It's Saturday. I'm not taking myself too seriously. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so we have spawning in the top right location. We have Team Red and Blue. We have the red Terran player, Red Revulsion, and the blue Terran player, Sergeant Philly. And spawning in the bottom right, we have the teal Zerg. I have no idea how you pronounce that. It sounds like a purr. Prowl. Prowl. Is that really what he's doing? That's actually a really clever name if that's what that is. You know, the growl sound that you do if you want to sound like a real creepy guy with like a mustache, I don't know. I don't have a mustache. I can't pull that off. And then his partner in all of this is the purple Protoss player, Willie Caiolo. We got some weird tags and we have some weird tags I've been getting. A lot of the tags I've been getting for my 1v1s have been, pretty normal, but got some pretty cool names down in the lower leagues, especially in 2v2. Okay, so I can't read the chat that is on the other side. I really wish I could, because one of the things about 2v2 that is so critical if you're actually just queuing up random is that you communicate with your partner. Because there really isn't much that you can hope to achieve as far as teamwork goes if you guys aren't actually communicating with each other. So, these two are not really doing much in the way of constructive communicating, but they are at least talking to each other. I wish that I could see what these two were talking about. It does look like we are going to have a fast expand going down for the Teal Zerg player, and we have a gateway going up for the Protoss. Now, this is actually really risky when you're playing Protoss and Zerg, because Protoss doesn't really have doesn't have a very good defensive capability in the early game, especially in 2v2 if you want to go for like a really big marine play. Really all Protoss has early on is like sentries and or photon cannons to defend a combined base. So when the Zerg is going for this really fast expansion right here, it pretty much opens him up to like all sorts of like really early crazy all-ins that like the other two people can do. You can obviously execute a wider variety of really powerful all-ins in 2v2 because it's obviously two armies coming up at once. So you see how he's going for like 3 barracks right here? He can actually just make a lot of Marines, and if both of them wanted to go for like a triple barracks type play, that's like 6 Marines like being produced at a time for both players. But this is funny. He has these 3 barracks down here. He's making his entire economy is going up here, but he doesn't even have an orbital command yet. So that's interesting. Actually, neither of them do. I wonder if either of these Terrans realize just how much additional income that orbital gives you. They're really missing out. We do have a double gas coming down for Red Revulsion, the Red Terran player, and he still hasn't made an orbital command yet, and they both have stopped SCV production. So, this might, I guess, one of the biggest problems I have, I'm missing this. We have a cannon rush coming up here, but we had the Protoss probe actually getting stuck behind that cannon for a moment. The Terran obviously doesn't see this probe. Now he does. He does see that there are photon cannons being constructed in the back of his base. His ally, Blue, actually did spot those, so he is telling Red, hey, you got cannons being built in the back of your base, bro. You better do something about that. And he says, alright, I got this. He's not too worried about those cannons just yet. We do have Marines that are coming in and pressuring the front of the second team's base. There isn't really much that can target, and that is a really sick Artosis pylon. That is going to shut down all production from the Protoss player. He is completely vulnerable to this attack. All he has are probes, and the Zerg player does not really have very many Zerglings to deal with this kind of Marine count. So he is pulling some Zerglings and some Queens, but the Protoss is losing all of his production structures, and he doesn't have the ability to make any more photon cannons after that because he lost his forge. So this Marine pressure by our blue Terran player is doing a lot of damage to this team. The Protoss doesn't really have anything that he can do to help out his ally. His ally is pretty much completely by himself on this one. He doesn't even have speed on the way. Those are just slow Zerglings to handle this. And these Marines are actually killing a ton of stuff. He lost a lot of probes, and he's continuing to kill a ton of Zerglings. So actually, this looks really bad. This looks really, really bad. We do have the photon cannon pressure is pretty much stopped. You can't really, go too much further into Red's base with just 3 photon cannons. So I don't really know what these guys' game plan is from here on out. We don't have speed down. We just have slow Zerglings, and these Marines are continuing to just pummel the purple Protoss player's base. And now he's starting to lose probes. Dude, get your probes out. What are you doing, man? You have 5 probes left. Are you just gonna let those Marines kill your probes? Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all for this team on this side of the map. Okay, but those Marines are finally going to be cleared up, but not before they cripple severely our purple Protoss player. And now we have Marauders and a bunker being built up here, so this is a pretty dominating game from team number 1. And this is what I was talking about with this fast expand. When you go straight for this fast expand, you're really just relying on your ally to defend both of your bases for you. And like that might work if your ally is Terran, for example, and can wall up here with like bunkers and stuff. But what is a Protoss really going to do early on against 2 players? There really isn't all that much he can do. We have the siege tank here. He is pummeling away at those photon cannons and that forge. So our purple Protoss player decided it would be a good idea to remake the forge in Red's base. That's not quite the smartest decision I've ever seen. And we do have a Ghost Academy coming down here, so we are actually going to be able to see. We actually might be able to see the nukes that were advertised in this game's description at the start of this game, but our team number 2 here is actually in a very precarious spot right now. Teal, despite taking that early fast expand, does not have very many drones. And he doesn't have speed for those Zerglings yet either. So realistically at this point, the Terran team could actually do almost anything they want and still come out ahead at this point. And our blue Terran player is still continuing to make a ton of bio units. Those bio units will be able to take care of those slow Zerglings. Like slow Zerglings, like they were actually able to kill all of those Marines, but slow Zerglings are not really good for all that much. And when the game gets past like 5 minutes, and we're already up to 10 minutes in game at this point. Still don't have a very high drone count from our Zerg player, considering that he took that fast base, but he does have a lot more drones than either of our Terran players do, or his Protoss ally. We have a ninja expansion going on over here in the corner. This is Purple's last-ditch effort to pretty much get back in this game and recover because his economy was ravaged so badly earlier. He's just now repowering that gateway. That gateway has 2 zealots stuck in it. They're kind of like stuck in a cage, like looking out, going like, "Come on, man, let me out of this gateway." And this failed photon cannon rush is finally being cleared out by that siege tank. And we have 2 ghost academies down. No nukes are in production just yet, but we do have a ghost out on the map. We do now have personal cloaking coming in here, but still no nukes. Where are those nukes? I was advertised nukes. I want my nukes. Excuse me, guys. There's a spider in my room. That's kind of gross. I just killed a spider that was like crawling up my wall. But normally when you do that, sometimes like you'll just be able to it'll just peel cleanly off your wall, but not this time. It left all of its guts all over my wall. It's gross. Okay, we do finally have the nukes that I was promised in production right now in the second Ghost Academy. Our Zerg player is still just sitting on slow Zergling. Speed is almost done. The Baneling nest is almost done, and a Roach Warren is down, and his lair is down. So he will start to be able to produce fast roaches as soon as he researches that roach speed upgrade. But fast roaches against Marauders is actually the worst possible thing that he can be building right now. There are siege tanks out on the map too, so these roaches are going to be going against Marauders and siege tanks. Any Zerg player in any of the upper leagues would know just how poorly roaches do against that unit composition. So that's not going to look very good for our Zerg player at all. Hopefully his Protoss ally has a better idea. But it doesn't really look like he has much of anything right now. He is producing 4 gateways, but he has no cybernetic score, so those are just gateways. He can't make them war gates just yet, so he's just making zealots out of those gateways. And again with the Artosis pylon here. Artosis, if you're watching this cast, I really highly doubt you are. You need to like take this guy aside and talk to him. Explain to him why having just 1 pylon powering 4 normal gateways is not the way you want to play Protoss. We have the single Marauder coming in here to harass the front of this base. We have a siege tank that is now down on the low ground, and it is just a siege tank and 2 ghosts for our Red Terran player. The majority of this team's army is really just in those Marauders. But we have 2 cloaked ghosts coming into Teal's base. We might be seeing a nuclear launch pretty soon. Yes, we do. There goes the missile. We have a nuclear launch down on Teal's base. He doesn't actually see it just yet.
Our allies are being attacked.
It is coming down here. He will be able to hit all of those drones, and there we go. Big drone barbecue on the map Boneyard. That was the nuke that I wanted. Now I'm happy. All the play up until this point. Oh, and we get another nuke too. And he's going after the other player's base. And it looks like this one might actually land too. Say it's not so, Purple. Say it's not so. Oh, that's just tough. So in one fell swoop, the Red Terran has actually managed to eliminate the entirety of his opponent's economy by nuking both both main bases of both players. We have a paltry. We actually still have a lot of workers for both players, considering that Blue has been unharassed this entire time, still only has 17 workers. We have 17 workers now for the Protoss and 15 workers for the Zerg. And this Marine Marauder ball actually, if they wanted to, could just come in here and end this game. There really isn't much that can really stop them. We have a second lair going down for Teal, which is an interesting choice. And somehow, I have no idea how, but somehow Teal has actually managed to get through the front door of the Red Terran player. So, Red Revulsion is having his SCVs killed. These Zerglings are very hungry for vengeance. They want to get back at the Terran for killing all of those drones, but they don't actually manage to kill very many SCVs before they are eventually brought down. These medevacs are able to heal these SCVs somehow, because it makes perfect sense that a medevac with a scalpel laser can heal a space construction vehicle. We have Red obviously thinks that those nukes were super effective, and they were. And for the second time this game, all of the Purple Protoss's gateways have been unpowered. He has 2 forges down and is just now starting Warp Gate Tech. We are 17.5 minutes in this game, folks, and Warp Tech is about 25% done. Bronzies. Two layers now down for our Zerg player. He does have infestors out on the field. Are pathogen glands actually finished? Did he somehow manage to research pathogen glands in all of this? Mobile growth does go down on those bio units, so Blue's army is actually going to be cleared up. And somehow this game has not ended, and both sides are really just kind of sticking around. We still only have a very small SCV count for our Blue Terran player. He's making nothing but Marauders, but he does have a lot of Marauders. That is a lot of dudes in a big black suit that shoot grenades out of it. That is a lot of them. You know, apparently Marauders, if you actually played through the campaign, apparently Marauders are actually better model citizens than Marines are. Like, you have to actually be like an accomplished person in Terran society to actually be able to pilot one of these Marauder suits. We have a fungal growth going down on those Marauders. We have Zerglings that are here, but with those Medivacs and the fact that his army is composed entirely of Marauders, I don't actually think these Zerglings are going to be able to do very much. Fungal growth doesn't actually hurt Marauders all that much, especially when they have Medivacs healing them. So I think this actually might be it. I don't really think that our two players here really have much answer for this Marauder ball at all. And we have a third nuke going down. Yay! Nukes! He does see this dot. This dot is as bright as day, but he's not actually doing anything about it. So this nuke is going to land. It's going to come down here and kill all those probes once again. So for the second time this game, Purple loses all the probes at his main base, and we have another nuke going down, and this time it is going down at the second base of our Teal Zerg player. I was able to find it, but I don't think Teal knows about it just yet. And there we go. We have another drone barbecue on this map. That is the fourth nuke. I am so happy right now. These Marauders are continuing to finish off what is left of this base, and that will be the end of that game. Okay, that was about... that was one of the silliest games I think I have ever seen. I think what finally ended up doing it for me, and I started realizing what kind of game I was casting, was the fact that the game is at 20 minutes and 44 seconds in game, and Warpgate is not done yet. Warpgate's not done at 20 minutes and 44 seconds in there. We have +1/+1 almost done before Warpgate is even done, and we have a Twilight Council down here too. And at the end of this game, this purple Protoss player has 2,700, almost 2,800 minerals and 1,400 gas floating on 15 supply. Yeah. Alright, so that was a silly game. Thanks to these players for submitting that. Thanks to Red Revulsion for that submission. That was entertaining. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I'll be back in about a minute with